Welcome back to another episode of the Bach Talk podcast. Today we have my long-lost Rocket League duo and River Valley High School's finest left-handed pitcher, Hayden Horan. You guys can follow him on Instagram at Hayden_Horan or on Twitter at Hayden_Horan. Hope you guys enjoy. So, anyways, that's how it's going to start off.
Okay.
So, I just want to say thanks for coming. I know
Yeah,
there's,
dude, I'm
I know,
excited.
I know you're super busy right now.
Yeah. I was sitting on the couch watching 90 Day Fiance.
Oh, okay. That's it. That's for a different discussion. Um,
That's for the other podcast.
all right. So the first question I've been asking everyone to start it off is, who are you today? In a sense of, how do you want to describe yourself to anyone that's listening?
All right. Well, basically, I am a student trying to make my uh start my career and trying to figure out which direction I want to take in life. Right now, I'm studying at Sac State for civil engineering. I so far really like it. I'm not exactly sure where it's going to take me, but yeah, we're just gonna see where I end up from there. But as of right now, I'm just trying to make it through living and financials and stuff like that, and working hard towards my degree to hopefully get somewhere that I want to be.
Okay. And how is that going? Classes? How do you like the
It's pretty good.
campus?
It's The campus is actually really beautiful. I love it. I love like the big campus feel. I've always liked like big cities too, so like kind of feels like a little like being in a town.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, I mean, civil engineering is hard, so it's kind of stressful. It's a lot of hard work, but I mean, it's nice because I mean, honestly, I feel like baseball's kind of led me up to being able to work hard and dedicating myself to one thing. So it's really helped, I think.
Nice. Um, after that, I met you. Your had it been your freshman year
I think it
of
was
high
our
school?
freshman year. Yeah, I was trying to think of when we met, but I think it was freshman year.
And then that was my junior year, correct? Your two
Yeah,
two classes under.
yeah.
I want you to tell us who you were before you met me, and I want to know what your first impression was of me, and I'm gonna share what my first impression was of you.
Yes.
And
Okay.
I'm trying to picture like the exact moment of when we first met, and I feel
I'll
like
tell you. I'll tell you right now. It was at the Lee's house. It was at their old place with like the tree in the front yard and everything. I met you there for
okay.
the first time.
So was that before you that was that before you were in high school?
No, I think I was in high school. But I knew you already though. Like I had heard your name through just like baseball talk and everything like that. So I had already known like kind of who you were, but I didn't even know like that you hung out with Jake or anything like that. So I wasn't like it was kind of unexpected to see you like there hanging
Hmm.
out, but it was cool. I think that you guys were outside playing basketball when I showed up.
Yeah. Okay. So
Yeah.
the first impression for me was, simply put, you're just a nice, genuine guy. You're really approachable, and
Yeah.
you do a really good job. I do a horrible job of this, of kind of introducing yourself before someone else does. Like you take
Yeah.
it upon yourself to do that. So you made a really good impression off me. Just really good guy at the
Cool.
time. I mean, kid at the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah. I've honestly really thought of myself doing that from a young age. Like I started to notice myself doing it more like when I started to get a little bit older, because like when I wasn't doing it, it started to get like things would get awkward. Like
yeah.
you're just kind of sitting there like no, you guys don't know each other. So I mean, like it's honestly kind of nice about just being able to honestly be approachable, like and like just walking up to somebody even if they don't look like they're approachable, but just introducing yourself and kind of breaking the ice. So and I mean, I'm kind of one of those guys that jokes around, like, kind of likes to break the ice with maybe talking a little bit of crap or something like that.
Yeah.
But honestly, like, it never means anything. Like, I'm not trying to be rude or anything like that. I'll say it with a smile on my face, like, never trying to be rude. So,
All right. Before that, leading up to that, who were you,
yeah.
little 2 year old Hayden Horan? Where were you born, raised, etc.?
Uh, Born and raised in Yuba City. That's where River Valley High School was. It's where I grew up. It's honestly, where we first met was the area that I would ride my scooter to almost every other day, hang out, play basketball over there with our boys. Um, Honestly, at that time, I didn't really know where I was going. I knew that I loved baseball. I was always into baseball. I've been playing since I was 4 years old. Um, but basically, at that time, like obviously, I was a freshman in high school. I was like 13 or 14, whatever I was. So I'm not mature. Like you don't have the mindset that you do as you grow up and everything like that. So over the years, I mean, it kind of gets developed through, especially through baseball for me. Um, but at that time, it was really just like I'm just going to high school. Like I'm just trying to meet people and introduce myself and figure out some friends and stuff like that. So yeah,
Okay. Did you when did you first start playing?
I started playing when I was 4 years old. I actually have like a couple pictures of me on my phone playing catch with my grandpa when I was like little tyke, and I was honestly I had the best form I've ever seen. Should have kept that form my whole life. Um, but
It
yeah,
was
I
all
started playing when
downhill
I was
from there.
4. Yeah, it was all downhill from there. Like I just started getting worse because it started to get too in my head. um, but yeah, honestly, since 4 years old, and like I grew up with my dad always coaching me through little league. My dad and like some of my best friends' friends, like or my best friends' dads, that I'm still friends with today. So like I was always close with all my coaches and everything like that. So I felt like that kind of helped me be able to build like a foundation going into like some of the higher levels, even through high school and junior college and stuff like that. So
Okay. Nice.
yeah.
Go going from little league to high school. How was that adjustment, and what were you seeing yourself as? Like, kind of like what place were you in making that transition? Like, were you kind of like the all star kind of coming in, or were you kind of like overlooked as a talent wise going into high school?
Yeah. Um, so going into high school, I I mean, all throughout Little League, I was always like first round draft pick. Like no doubt on the all star team. Like so and having all like my friends' dads being coaches and stuff like that, like it was always like I they would tell me that stuff, and like that kind of gets in your head to like make you go into a higher level thinking that you're better than other people,
Mm-hmm.
or like that you think that you can outperform them. And so like going into high school, I already thought like since I had been doing travel ball too, like a lot of these kids hadn't done travel ball yet. Like a lot of them, some of them don't even have like baseball pants or anything like that. So it's like showing up on those days and you're just like you feel like you're better than them. And like I didn't really like that mindset, but at the same time, like I was still young, I was still getting used to everything. So like looking back on it now, like I don't have any regrets, like anything that I did or anything like that. I mean, I wasn't like a bully to anybody or
Yeah,
anything,
yeah,
but yeah, at the same time, it was just like you kind of went in like thinking that you were better, and it kind of actually helped, especially on the mound wise, because I mean, you got to be a bulldog when you get up on the mound. You got to be telling yourself that you're better and that you're going to win that every battle when that kid steps up to the plate. So I mean, I feel like it did help in that mindset when I actually got onto the mound and was ready to dominate. So
okay. And you're doing that. You're
yeah,
doing that bulldog mentality ever since you stepped on the mound at 7 years old.
probably not at 7 years old, obviously. Yeah, I mean, you don't have that mindset by
Yeah.
then because, like, at that time you're 7 and like you're maybe pitching to like some of your friends that you're gonna like hang out with at school the next day.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I uh still have memories of me pitching to my buddy Cameron Eden for the first time, and now he's in the fucking Blue Jays
Yeah.
organization, and he just hit an absolute tank off of me, and he's been doing that ever since I faced him through high school and since on. So I mean, it's all fun and games, but you kind of have to have the mentality because it's like you got to be able to shake it off after things like that happen, especially when it's your friends doing it or somebody that you know doing that to you. Like you have to have the mentality to be able to shake it off and just go after the next guy.
Yeah. In the previous episode that I did with my buddy Jared, the hot topic that for him, and he's one of the best people that I feel that I've encountered doing this. The biggest thing that we talked about was compete and like competing and the
Yeah,
nature of competing. And we had mentioned that he actually got that from football. So he actually
yeah,
going through high school, he didn't have that mentality for baseball, even though he knew his future was in baseball and not football. But
yeah,
the competitive nature was way more intense in football, and then after that was done, it carried over. And I shared
Yeah.
that for me, I always saw it from the game side. I literally saw
Okay.
it as, oh, I'm playing a game, until I started to form into a pitcher and started
Hmm.
noticing like, oh, like I could have a future in this. And then that's when that mentality really came out of me. So,
Yeah. 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 No, I definitely agree. I tried to go the football route too, and just trying to honestly get like kind of that experience too. But at the same time, like I was going into a high school where I didn't know like a ton of kids going in, and I wanted to make some friends going in, so I decided to try out for the football team my freshman year. I made the team, but then obviously I tore my ACL. So
yeah, we're gonna go into that.
I
We're,
assumed that we were going to,
yeah, we'll bring
because
that
one of
up.
them was with you.
Yeah, yeah, we'll just save that the ACL injuries for later, right?
Okay, yeah,
Okay.
I have a feeling I know where they're coming up.
So, from that point though, going into high school, okay,
Yeah,
you said that you didn't have a lot of friends going into it. Okay, when I transferred, I
yeah,
transferred from a different high school to River Valley my sophomore
yeah,
year, and I
yeah.
was the only person that happened to didn't even know we went to school was Steve.
Okay,
And
yeah.
then he introduced me to everyone else, the Rooney,
Hmm.
Jake, all the guys that are in our core friendship.
Yeah,
And he, or excuse me, going through that is like really tough, especially at that age. Like you're the
yeah,
new kid, you almost don't know how to like approach yourself in situations like that to other people. I was a kid that stayed in my own lane, did my own thing, focused on that.
yeah,
Where I'm leading this to is I want to talk about making the decision to go to RV versus going to Yuba City.
yeah,
And the reason that I went to RV, because I wasn't even in the district, I,
yeah,
I went to RV because Yuba City was known as the baseball school in Yuba City.
yeah, yeah.
And I was I was told by my parents they'd rather me go to the nicer, newer school in River Valley.
Okay.
And on top of that, they were like, you don't know the political, like the politics that go into Yuba City at all. But
Hmm.
they're trying to make themselves this top baseball program. They have 20 to 30 kids on each team,
Hmm.
so they didn't want me to get stuck in. So my sophomore year, they didn't want me to get stuck in JV and then not even get an opportunity to play on JV just because I was the new kid. Nobody knew they had all these feeder programs, summer programs for them that I would have to commit to. And they thought the best option was for me to go to River Valley, even though it was a newer school, a weaker program. I would get the opportunity to kind of go there and be a starter and be one of the better
Yeah,
players right off of the bat.
yeah,
I didn't
yeah,
know
yeah.
anything about this rivalry that went on in the city. So I want you
Yeah.
to kind of elaborate on it, because I'm assuming the rest of the kids that you played Little League with all went to Yuba City.
Yeah, so a lot of my good friends that I grew up playing Little League with did end up going to Yuba City. I shouldn't necessarily say that I didn't have like any friends going into RV. I had a lot of friends going in, but a lot of my best friends ended up going to YC, and a lot of kids that I knew through baseball.
Mm-hmm.
And that's going into high school. Like my main thought was I was always thinking about baseball. So it was I seeing all of them go to Yuba City was kind of tough for me, but at the same time my decision was kind of based on my family, and my sister was already there. My sister was a senior there. She was going to be able to take me to and from school.
Mm-hmm.
So that was nice. That was a good way to kind of, I mean, that was really the main reason why I chose River Valley. um but yeah, I still look back on it and try and think about like the what ifs, like if I did go to Yuba City High School, because I mean, I see like some of my friends coming out of there, and I ended up playing with a lot of those guys from Yuba City out at Yuba College. So
Yeah.
that was cool to be able to like reconnect with them from playing with them in Little League and everything like that. It was just like a 4 year break from playing with them, and then coming back and being able to meet up again was cool, and be able to be on the field with them for like another 2 or 3 years. So
Okay. Yeah.
yeah,
I wasn't sure because, like I said, I wasn't even in the district and I was able to get into RV because it wasn't compacted. But I do know that Yuba City at times, certain years they were impacted. So I didn't know if you
Yeah.
did have the opportunity to go there and it just didn't pan out because, like you
No, not
said,
really.
okay.
Yeah, it was kind of like a family-based decision. I honestly was kind of ever since my sister went there when I was what in like the 5th grade or something like that. She was a
Hmm.
freshman at River Valley, so I kind of just like assumed that I was going to River Valley for 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th grade, and then once it got there, I was already convinced that I was going there. So yeah, it was kind of like a decision that I had subconsciously made already, and then hearing that some of my friends were going to YC and stuff like that was sad by that point. But
Okay.
at the same time, like I was prepared to go in. I knew a lot of kids that were going there too. So
Yeah.
yeah.
After RV, so I played with you
Mhm.
for on the same team only 1 year, right?
Uh,
Your
we
sophomore
didn't
year.
pl- we didn't play on a team together at
You
all in
didn't
high
get
school.
called up for playoffs.
No, because my sophomore year I tore my ACL again. So
That was the
my
second
sophomore
one.
year I was
Okay.
out. Yeah,
We'll
yeah, that
talk
was the
about
second
that
one.
later.
Yeah,
So technically we did play on team. Played on a tournament team. Let's
yeah,
just start with
yeah.
that, okay?
All right.
Um so you came in, you're a left-handed pitcher,
Mm-hmm.
okay? A little finesse guy,
Yep.
right?
Specialist.
Specialist. Okay.
There you go.
Um no, to be honest, the real reason we picked you up, we had a very stacked team
Yeah.
and a lot of people can get intimidated by that. So, for
Hmm.
example, not love the kid to death, but Steven was
Hmm.
probably the best option that we had taken out of Yuba City to come join our team. And he had a very hard time adjusting because he was always the best player on a team.
Steven.
Robinson.
Oh, okay, Steve.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Sorry.
And
I
he
never hear anybody call him Steven.
Steve, he when he made the transition, he did really good for a tournament because
Yeah.
we had him in the 2 spot. And
Hmm.
then he had like he kind of we I don't know if our team was weaker that weekend or something, but then the next couple of tournaments we had our main core and he was batting
Yeah.
like 6th, 7th, and
Hmm.
that kind of like took away from his not necessarily ego, but he kind of felt like he started to realize like, oh, these guys are good, like, and this is like
Yeah.
I'm on this team, I got to kind of show out.
Hmm.
And then you go back to the high school season and he's balling out because he's a number 1 or number 3 hitter on the team.
Yeah.
So, but the main reason that we did pick you up, you were 2 years younger.
Hmm.
Um,
I was
tech,
16 playing on the 18U team.
yeah, yeah. You
Yeah,
you
and
were young.
we were all kind of young though for that team, but we were just dominant. Like
Yeah,
we were a solid squad.
yeah. And we needed another pitcher, and that was the
Hmm.
biggest thing. Is we needed somebody to kind of fill in the spot. So we had Mitch. We had the 3 kind of big headed monster. Like if you want to look at MLB teams, we had Dylan Spezia, who at
Yeah.
the time was probably touching 90.
Yep.
I was touching close to 90,
Yep.
and we had Tyler Gums, who was
Yeah.
touching 90, and these are for
Hmm.
17-year-olds.
Yeah.
And we needed guys that can come in if one of us was having a bad game, so we didn't have to waste kind of like one of those guys. We can kind of save everyone for the
Yeah.
next day. And
Hmm.
it takes a lot of balls for someone to understand their role and understanding you coming on and you understanding like, hey, I'm kind of gonna be like a piece for this team. I'm not gonna be
Hmm.
the star player. And so I wanted to talk about when you got to high school. Uh, like you said, you kind of had some injuries that kind of sidelines you for the course of both your freshman and your
Yeah.
sophomore year.
Yeah.
But after those years, so you're kind of almost like a side piece. You
Hmm.
weren't the main guy, and then going into your junior and senior year, you became the guy to kind of take over
Yeah.
after my time was over,
Hmm.
and kind of Steven and Chris Lamas, all the seniors left, and here comes
Yeah.
little Hayden coming
Hmm.
into his own and finally getting the opportunity to play.
Yeah.
So I just wanted you to kind of elaborate on how that was, how your mentality was. Was it easy? Was it hard? Did you feel like you had a lot to prove? Did you feel like you were being overlooked?
Yeah, I mean, that's a great question because, um, I mean, people that don't know me, like I'm 5'8", I'm 160. So like going in, like I'm that small guy that you don't expect to like really be anything special. Like I'm not the guy that's gonna light you up. I'm not the guy that's gonna blow a ball by you.
And I wanna intervene right there. That's what you are right now.
Yeah.
So in high school, as a sophomore, junior, you were probably
Well, I
what,
definitely
five,
was.
5'5"?
No, I was 5'8".
Oh, you were?
I got up
Okay.
to yeah. So going into high school, I grew up to about 5'6" my freshman year, and then I was 5'8" by the end of my sophomore year, and then that's where I've stayed ever since,
Okay.
really.
Okay.
So, I mean, I'll be 6'2" in the next 2 years. So,
Late bloomer.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Just waiting for puberty to hit, man. But yeah, like that mentality, it's kind of hard because like growing up, I mean, I've always kind of had like the 6'4" guys and everything like that. You call you like big man and stuff like that. Like I don't. It gets under your skin for a while until you start to just own it. Like
Hmm.
you're that guy. Like you're gonna be 6'4", but I'm gonna stand way taller than you when I'm actually on the mound. And so like knowing your role though is like super important because like I knew that I'm not gonna be blowing the ball by people or anything like that. But I did like to tell myself that I was a specialist, having like 5 pitches that I was able to throw for strikes, and just being able to come in and just kind of get my team out of situations. I wasn't the guy that wanted to strike out everybody. I was never that guy. I always wanted to be somebody that just at least got the ball in play. And that's the kind of guy that I strive for. And when I played with you guys on the Beast and like having those top three guys that were throwing like low 90s and like almost touching 90s and then coming in after them, like honestly I kind of saw it as like an opportunity because
Hmm.
you're coming in after these dudes that are blowing 90 and then you come in with a 75-mile-an-hour fastball, but guess what, you can also slow it down to like 60 with a
Yeah.
changeup or a
Yeah.
slow breaker. Like it's hard to adjust to. So at least if I could come through and at least just get like one time through the lineup, like then I know that I did my job. Like you can walk away with your head held high. Like even if you're not coming in to close out the game and you're not throwing 6 innings, like you just have to be able to tell yourself that it's not a big deal. Like that's what you came in. That's your role on that team, and you did your job today, and your team was able to get the dub. So
Yeah.
if it all comes out like that, then you did a good job.
Yeah. Sorry, I don't mean to cut you off 1 second.
No, no,
I gotta
you're all good.
part that you left off.
I don't remember now.
um,
Sorry, quarantine's making me stupid,
no,
bro.
you're good. You're talking about just the opportunities that it came in to the opportunities that were given to you coming in after those guys and
Yeah,
mixing the pitches and taking advantage of that. And that was
yeah,
honestly the biggest thing that I wanted you to point out is because it's really easy to think of them as not opportunities, as seeing
yeah.
them more as,
Oh
oh,
yeah,
I'm getting kind of like garbage innings, and then you do succeed in those innings and you do get the recognition. I mean, I feel
yeah,
like my
yeah,
dad's not a very talkative person, and especially as a coach, he's not saying that much, but he
yeah,
always gave you the recognition that you deserved, and he did a very
yeah,
good job of never shying away to going to you when necessary.
yeah.
Whenever we needed a
Exactly.
guy, he did go to you. You were mainly the first option out of the bullpen. The
Hmm.
time that you did play with us, and so
Yeah,
I just think that was a good example for just people out there that can possibly be going through that right now or in the
yeah.
future.
Anybody that can relate to it. I mean, honestly, and you can also relate to it too when you're watching the big league players. Like you see those guys like, I mean, let's just throw out like Shohei Ohtani or something like that. Runs it up 98 to 100. Like, and then he's got a couple versions of his breaking ball that he has, but one of them's like 65 miles an hour.
Hmm.
It's the same kind of concept except for it's coming from the same arm. So if a team's seeing guys that are throwing 90 plus at 16, 17 years old, and then a guy comes in that's throwing 75 to 80, like it's a big difference. Like it really is. And
Yeah.
any hitters out there can relate to that by seeing it, like you guys know how hard it is when you're stepping up to the plate and you're getting acclimated to a high velo, and then they throw you a slow breaker. Like it's really really hard and really um and so like it's just a good mindset to have, like when you're
Hmm.
going in, like just know that there is a purpose for you, even if you're not like the flamethrower on the team or anything like that. There is a purpose and you're there for a reason.
Yeah. The transition that I want to make off of that is the
Hmm.
experience that you got going there, and I mentioned this earlier, is how did that translate into you being the guy and kind of having to realize that you did have pieces around you, but you were the king and the queen on the chessboard.
Yeah.
You didn't you had two, three pieces around you versus
Mhm.
having a whole squad around you,
Yeah. So you're talking like
like your
I
junior,
was coming
senior.
in,
Yeah.
yeah, junior and senior year, where I was like
Yes.
the ace and everything like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that I mean, it really helped to be on like the beast and everything like that, just to get like that knowledge that you have a purpose. But going into high school, like I didn't think I was going to be that ace. Like I always thought that I had to have that flamethrower arm and everything, but then you start to realize once you start getting into it that it's not as important as you might think. If you're getting ground balls and you have 8 other dudes behind you to back you up, things are going to get done. You're going to be able to go a long time.
Hmm.
So even not being able to throw 90 or even like mid 80s, like it didn't matter because I was able to get strikes. I was able to get people to pop up, ground out. My team was there to back me up. And so like that's something that you always have to remember when you're on the mound too, is that it's not just you. Like it like the battle is between you and him at that moment. But as soon as that ball releases from your hand, like it's time for the 7 dudes behind you and yourself to be able to back yourself up. And
Yeah.
so you just have to know that those guys have your back. And then that was kind of what really got me into that ace role, was being able to have a good team there that was there to have my back on anything that was hit to them. So
Yeah. And I don't want people to think that I'd mentioned earlier, like you kind of taken over and after like my team was gone, like after when I was a senior year, like after we left, because you guys did lose a lot of big guys, like especially
yeah, no,
offensively.
yeah.
But I don't want to take the
Yeah,
fact
people have to
away.
understand. I don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, people don't want to like bag on you for that or anything like
Yeah.
that, because yeah, that wasn't it. We did lose. Like your whole class was, that was a big class to lose
Yeah.
for sure. That was a lot of big dudes that were really effective in like the championship games and everything like that.
Yeah.
So
And to paint the picture, my senior year, we were the favorites. We were supposed to win the conference tournament,
yeah,
and we didn't. We lost in the semifinals,
yeah, I
and
was there
then
actually. I did get brought up at the end of the season,
yeah,
and I was there through the conference tourney.
okay, and then
Yeah,
the following year, your junior year, you guys, am I
we went
correct? You guys went to the
we went to,
championship.
yeah,
Yes, and
yeah, and
you guys
we lost in the
lost, but
championship. Yeah.
that's kind of the direction of where River Valley was taking the program. Like we should have
Yeah.
been in back to back championship games, and the fact that you guys did that without all of us is kind of like
Mhm.
I don't want to. My buddies, two of my closest friends were on that team. Like
Yeah.
Rooney had the greatest season ever
Yeah.
as a hitter,
Yeah.
and so you did have pieces around you, but
Mhm.
like it's a difference of you guys were underdogs
Yeah.
in a sense, and we were the favorites, and you guys took advantage of your kind of matchups, and you guys balled out when you were supposed to. So I don't want people to
Yeah.
think that you kind of took over this team and you didn't have a good squad around you. You just didn't have the
Yeah. No.
pieces that I
We
had because
yeah,
I was lucky.
we were definitely the underdog, because going into that tourney, we were last place. Like
Hmm.
we came in playing the number 1 seed, which was Folsom, I think Folsom something. And they were throwing a lefty at us that was running it up to 90, and like
Yeah.
it was intense. But just having like that underdog mentality, like I actually started that game. I was the ace on our
Hmm.
team, so I started the first game just to get us out of the way on the against the number 1 seed. And I had like the game of my life, even though I was competing against another lefty that was 15 miles an hour harder than I was.
Yeah.
And but our team had that mentality that we were the underdogs. We were taking this all the way. There was no way that these guys were going to beat us.
Mm-hmm.
And so yeah, that was great. And that tournament was insane because we did face a lot of teams that were really good. We lost one. We went into the losers bracket and ended up coming all the way back through. Um, and the game that we did lose, I think that guy had like a scholarship to San Diego State or something
Mm-hmm.
like that pitched against us, and he was just phenomenal. Like he was insane. Um, so yeah, that was the game that we lost. But then I think that just kind of lit a fire under us again. That was just like kind of brought us back down to earth. I think because
Yeah.
we were kind of on a hot streak going through that tourney and the last seed, and we kind of got brought back down to earth and like, okay, like we're meant to be here. Like let's make sure that we show them what we can do. So we came out and played them again, and that's what got us to the championship. So
Yeah. What I'd like to share is like the same thing to paint the picture, like the supporting cast, if you want to say it that way. Like I was the number one pitcher and I was throwing 90.
yeah,
The next year you were the number one pitcher throwing 78. You
yeah,
know, and
yeah,
you guys were actually more of a defensive team, and the team that I
hmm
had, I was the two hitter dropping down suicide squeeze every other at
yeah,
bat because
yeah,
Steven was hitting triples every single at bat, and we had
yeah,
or doubles, and we had three guys right behind me that could all put it over the fence.
yeah.
And so,
I mean, well, yeah, you can look back at our scores from like my junior year, and you could see like almost all of our games, like we never ran it up on a team where we were winning like 15 to whatever or anything
mhm,
like that. Like we didn't have that. It was just defense. So like we had those guys that can come out and hit in the big spots and the big opportunities. But I mean, we were winning games 5-0. But guess what? That's a dub, still a dub. I mean, it
yeah,
looks just as good as winning 20-1. So
yeah,
like
and
so
it,
yeah, it just
and
kind
then
of
your guys' big
ran us
big
up.
returning players were like the guys that ended up being seniors. So Steven balled out
Yeah,
again his senior year. You guys had
yeah,
Rooney, who to this day I don't know how he put those numbers up. He was, for you guys know, Rooney at the time was probably what 5'8", 110,
yeah, yeah.
and he and
Probably
he and he almost
one
batted
ten,
400.
120. Yeah, he was insane. It looked like he could barely even swing the bat, but I'll tell you what, that kid can put the ball in play.
Yeah. Uh, so with all of that, that kind of brings you to um, after your senior year, you go to Yuba College,
Yeah.
and I want to know a little bit about that because in all my off seasons for my own college, and then even when it came back from pro ball my first year,
Mhm.
I don't know a lot about your time there because I was never
Yeah.
there during your seasons. I was only there during both of our off seasons, and you were basically my number one option for playing catch, in the winter
Yeah.
or
So that's
in
really the only time
January.
we were able to like. That's the only time that we talk really is when we would get out and throw with each other. So
Yeah. So I just want you to kind of elaborate from high school to college, where you went to college, how it went. Take it over.
yeah. So basically, going into college was actually really hard because I found out at the end of my senior season that I played the whole season on a broken foot. So I had surgery at the end of my summer. So going into college, like you immediately start baseball. You're going straight into fall ball, and it was hard because I just had surgery. I just got a screw put through the top of my foot, and I was in a boot, and I was still trying to be able to make the team. But like, thankfully, the coaches knew me because I was a local college. I ended up staying local, save some money, be able to save my parents and family money. Um, so yeah, going in it was tough because I was trying to come in as a two-way because I was a pretty decent hitter also in high school. And so I came in and was trying to run through outfield drills and first base drills and stuff like that while I was still in a boot. And then the first practice I come back like full ready to go without my boot on and stuff like that. They end up making me a pitcher only, and that was hard for me. That was actually really really hard because I felt like I had a lot of stuff to offer with my bat as well.
Mhm.
Um, but it ended up being really good because I actually didn't even make the team my freshman year. I was asked to travel redshirt, so I was still able to dress. I was still able to travel with the team everywhere we went. And the first few games, you really look at it as like a reality check. That was I wasn't ready for that showtime. Like it was these guys were good, and like it was definitely the next level, and you were walking into the next level thinking that you were the ace on your high school team, and then coming into these guys that are just a lot better. It was really kind of just to bring you back down to earth. Like it
Mhm.
was and so yeah, I was frustrated for probably like a week or two until I started to really see that like I wasn't ready. And then after that I was able to travel with the team, make friendships all throughout spring. And I just remember I was throwing bullpens every single day. Or yeah, every game I was asking to go down to the pen. I was getting some catchers down there to catch me, and just working my ass off because I knew that when I came back the next year that I wanted to be that guy. I wanted to step on the mound and be one of our top dogs. And so it really just showed that I was going to need to put more work in than I needed to throughout high school. I was always like a top dogs throughout high school, so like honestly, I felt like I didn't need to put in as much work, but
Mhm.
that's not the case. Like you always have to be prepared for stuff like that. And so walking into college, it was really a reality check to be able to say like if you want this, you got to be able to work for it. So I worked for it, and then I came out my freshman year, and I was able to dominate. So yeah,
So your sophomore year, but your redshirt freshman year, correct?
redshirt freshman year, my sophomore year of college. Yeah.
Okay.
And it ended up working really well because I needed a lot of units in order to get to my civil engineering program. So
Yeah.
3 years is probably what it was going to take anyway.
Yeah. Okay. So you mentioned so if anyone didn't catch that, Yuba College was a local school. It was a junior college,
Yeah.
and I feel like there's this misconception that junior colleges are kind of filled with the guys that aren't talented enough to go to a 4 year school, which in reality that it false, and especially in California specifically. There's California, Arizona, Florida, like a lot of the hotspot talents for baseball. Their junior colleges are no joke, and the competition can be better than D2, D3 in some of the
Yeah.
programs. And in some of the programs, I mean, there's some bad D1 programs out there, and some of these junior college, like talent wise, are just as good or better than those teams. And you mentioned the reality check of seeing that, like, oh, you weren't ready for that. There's
Yeah.
a lot of guys that either financially can't go to a D1 school, education, issues. They don't have the grades to get into school. But if there's one thing, if you're going to a junior college and you're playing baseball at a junior college, like, you have to have a passion to do that.
Yeah.
And so a lot of
Yeah.
times these guys are very driven, and a lot more driven than guys that kind of are the show ponies that get all the scholarship monies, the full ride scholarship monies to D1 programs. And these guys have a lot of chips on their shoulders. And so, I just want people to realize that you redshirting at a junior college, like, yeah, you had an injury, but even if you didn't have an injury, like, it still could have been a possibility because of the talent that
Oh
was
yeah.
in that area.
Oh yeah, most definitely. And that's also something that I wanted to talk on too. And um was that there I know that I'm not the only one. There's a lot of kids out there that think that they're D1 ready.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they're made for. And that's the same mindset I had my senior year of high school as well, is that I was like, I'm the ace. I deserve to go to a D1 or D2 school. Like, and then obviously that didn't work out. I mean, I'm 5'8", throwing 75 miles an hour. I wasn't getting D1 looks. I was trying to get my name out there,
Mm-hmm.
but obviously there's so many kids out there playing this game that you have to be that standout guy, and you got to have that mentality. And at that time, I didn't think that I realized eventually that I just didn't have the maturity level and the drive at that time to be able to get to that next level,
Mhm.
or that D1 or D2 level or somewhere in there. So it was a big decision for me to like stay local and go to a JC. Like that was kind of hard for me until you actually step on that field and you see the mentality that those guys have. College is no joke. Any If you're playing ball at any college, that's no joke. You're a good ball player. You're
Mhm.
supposed to be there if you're on that team. Um, so you'll see that because you don't see it in high school where you get kids that go into the gym on them by themselves or ask you to throw or anything like that. You don't see that a lot in high school. And if you do, those kids got drive and those kids are probably going somewhere.
Mhm.
And as soon as you get to college, like even at the JC level, you get kids asking coaches to unlock the gym for them and getting texts constantly. You're getting put in group chats asking people to throw. Like, we need to get out, so we do this. You're doing it all on your own. Like, you got a couple hours a day to practice with your team. But other than that, like a lot of it is going to be on your own if you want to be the best.
Yeah.
So even at the JC level, like you just have to know that college is another level. If you want to play there, you really do have to have a drive and a passion.
Yeah.
So
And just to paint the picture even more, you weren't just competing against local guys. You guys have a guy
no.
from Canada?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we had a guy from Canada my sophomore year. We were getting to my sophomore year. We also had a guy from New York. Got a couple kids from the Dominican Republic at one time. Um, so yeah, we had kids from all over. Like, you're still getting talent from everywhere.
Mhm.
It's not like they're reaching out to kids just like any other colleges, any D1, D2 colleges. They're reaching out to people that they're interested in. It's the same concept with JC. It doesn't matter where you're at, what level you're playing at. The coaches are still out there trying to make their team the best that they can. So yeah, we're still getting kids from the Dominican Republic that are throwing 90 and able to run 3-5 down to first base. Like it's insane. But at the same time, like you got to realize, like those are the kids that you're going to see in high school, or those are the kids that you're going to see in college that you're probably not going to see or even know that there's kids like that out there
Yeah.
in the world. So you just have to be able to prepare yourself and have that drive to be able to compete with them. So
Yeah. And when I this past off season, I was coaching at a private high school down in Mission Viejo area,
mhm,
and one of the coaches was having a conversation with a I'm not going to name names, but they were having a conversation about with one of the kids about his future and in college, and he was getting a really nice offer from a D2 school,
yeah,
and he was looking at turning it down and playing at the JUCO because he thought, he said, I want to play D1, and
yeah,
that's a great mentality to have. And they were
mhm,
looking him straight in the eyes, and they were saying, if you go to the junior college here, you're not going to start. You have
yeah,
a better opportunity of starting at the D2 school, coming out in
mhm,
your freshman year. And the reason that
yeah,
is not only are you competing against local kids and kids all over the country coming out of high school, JUCO is the number one hotspot for D1 bounce backs. Guys
yeah,
that get cut or choose to leave their D1s in order to get an opportunity to play and then get
yeah,
noticed by other teams. And so, yeah,
yeah,
it just I wanted you to talk about that and kind of emphasize on that because it really is California, especially, man. It's a hot spot for talent all over and in all levels. And for anyone that's trying to play at the next level and thinking, oh, I want to take the cakewalk and go JUCO. I mean, if you want the cakewalk, you're not gonna be walking for long. Like, you're gonna
yeah,
be get cut there too, and it's a cutthroat business no matter where you go. So,
yeah.
all right. So moving on from that, kind of got the gist of who you were, where you went to play. I want you to reflect back on a couple of memories. The first memory I want you to share is your favorite memory at RV.
At
So in high
RV,
school.
yeah. It was my junior year of high school. It was the first game. I mean, I talked about it earlier, was that I got that opportunity to start. Um, that first game against the number one seed, I knew who we were facing. I did my research knowing the guys that I was going to be facing going in. I mean, they had a great ball club. So, I mean, kind of being dominant throughout that season, I was scared because we didn't have any teams like that in our league that
Mm-hmm.
had the type of talent that that number one seed did. And and then going up against a matchup where the dude's throwing 15 miles an hour faster than me, and he's still lefty too, and it's just it was an intense situation to go into, but going in with a strong mentality, like that was the game that really defined like where my where my career was going to go for me, because I ended up going the whole 7 innings. I threw a complete game, two hit them, and I think the final score was 7-1 in against the number one seed in our very first game. Being the underdogs, we came in just absolutely dominated over them. So I always look back on that game and really like when I'm thinking like when I'm feeling down or I'm starting to get into a slump on the mound or something like that, like being able to look back at that game and seeing like what I can do, like that was always like a defining moment for me where I was like it was really nice to see like that I was actually able to dominate against teams that were better and had good talent.
Mm-hmm.
So that was probably my number one moment on the baseball field, like for in high school.
Yeah, man. Baseball is a crazy game. Doesn't matter
Yeah,
who's on the mound. If you're getting
yeah,
out, you're
anything
getting
can
out.
happen any
Yeah.
day. Yeah.
My favorite moment for myself at RV was, I don't know if you recall watching the game or being part of the game. Like you said, you got called
Hmm.
up at the end there, but
Yeah.
my senior year, our team was the first team, and actually in all sports, to beat Yuba City
Yeah.
at the varsity level. And
Hmm.
as I mentioned before, I didn't know about the rivalry between the schools, the city. Uh, our school motto that is a mural on the side of our gymnasium is "Live in the city, play at the valley." Okay, because everybody said Yuba City, everything was Yuba City High School. Nobody gave a crap about little RV off in the boonies.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so my memory was when we beat them because I started the game and we played 4 innings and 2/3, and they canceled
Oh,
the
I gotta remember
game
this game. Yeah.
due to rain. And in our district, when that happens, the rule is to continue the game where it left off. And I believe this was on Monday. In Yuba City, or excuse me, we were winning the game by 2 runs, I believe, and we had a runner on third base and second base with 1 out or something like that.
Hmm.
They went and bypassed our district rules and went to CIF that controls all of California to have them veto our game to a restart. And the only stats that counted in the game were the pitchers and their innings pitched, because CIF has a rule where you can only throw 9 innings per week.
Hmm.
So that meant that we were
You
still
couldn't
going to
pitch.
play 3 games, but
Hmm.
I could only pitch 5 innings. I only had 5 innings for the rest. So they did that to try to strategically take me out of the situation and basically win the series. I don't even remember who started. I honestly think it was Logan. I think Logan started on the
Could have
first
been.
game on Wednesday because we
Yeah.
played Wednesday and then we played doubleheader on Friday. But Logan started. Long story short, I think he goes 5 innings or 6 innings. I think someone else threw. I'm not sure exactly. But I ended up going into that game. So on 2 days rest, I come back and pitch. And the only thing going on in the crowd, because the whole city's there watching,
Hmm.
is, "Oh my God, you're gonna make his arm fall off. Why is he out there throwing?" And everyone was just
Yeah.
complaining. and we're up by one, maybe two, and there's runners on second and third, 2 outs, and they actually get a base hit. Weakest ground ball up the middle. We had infield in, or little flare over second base. We had infield in. They couldn't catch the ball. Both runs score. They tie the game, and then so I was coming in for the save, blew the save, and then in the bottom of the seventh, Jordan Bauer hits the go ahead run, walk off single, and we pinch ran Jamal, and that was the
Yes.
only time Jamal played the
Yes.
entire season. And the reason I like that game so much is I didn't I didn't care about the rivalry. It was just another game to me. But I felt
Yeah.
like that meant so much for like the school and the kind of just the foundation of the program, and like for the coaches to say that they were the first ones to win, those guys, the teammates, to say that they kind of got over the hurdle after 4 years of beating those guys, or
Yeah.
of losing to those guys and finally beating them. And I felt like that gave you guys, because we ended up losing the series. We won the first game, first time we ever beat them. Then they won the next 2 games. But that gave you guys won the series against them the following year, correct? You guys took the regular
Um.
season series?
No,
No?
that's my crappy story right there.
Uh well, I
That's my
know
worst memory from high school
well no,
right
I
there.
know I know you guys lost the championship game to them. But then you guys
No, 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 no. Not the championship. That was we were going in. Um I I pitched the first game and I got the dub. The second game we lost against them, and then the third game, uh, our number two Avery comes in and pitches, and he go absolutely insane, dominated Yuba City High School. We were
Mhm.
winning 7-4, going into the bottom of the seventh inning. We're at their place, and he goes 6 2/3. So, and then I go down to the pin. I get hot, and I come in with bases loaded, 2 outs in the bottom of the seventh inning and give up a walk-off grand slam to lose it. So we lost the series. Um, and I still can't live that down. That's in the paper almost every year. Like whenever RV and YC play each other, like that's in the paper every year. Where th- this year, this game didn't end with a walk-off grand slam like it did a couple years ago, and stuff like that. So I
You gotta
mean,
stop reading
I
the
still hear
paper,
about
bro.
that game. Well, my parents sent
All right.
it to me.
They're in the,
But yeah,
it haunts their sleep, huh?
yeah. But then I still was the first team to get the series dub my senior year though. So it
Oh,
was
okay, okay,
2 years after that we got our the first series win.
gotcha. Okay,
Yeah.
and then for people out there, no disrespect to RV, but after your senior year, that the program kind of went downhill. Yeah,
Yeah, they had an okay team the year after me. We had a pretty, I mean, they still had like Kyle and Austin and Chip and those
mm-hmm.
guys. So I mean, they were still a pretty good team before me, but then yeah, it really did start to go downhill from there. I know that my senior year we weren't even able to make like a freshman team. Like it was,
Yeah,
so we were starting to get dwindled down on competition and stuff like that, because I mean Yuba City was still known as that baseball school in our area. So if anybody wanted to play baseball, that was probably the place that they were going. So yeah, we did start to get dwindled down on talent
yeah,
for sure.
yeah. That's definitely tough. The next question. So that was your favorite RV moment.
Yeah.
I forgot already. Did I ask you your favorite baseball moment? Did I ask you that before that?
Yeah, that would be my favorite baseball moment probably.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Next one is, it could be on the field, off the field. I want to know your favorite moment with me, and I'm gonna
Okay.
share mine. So I told you to skip this earlier in the show. Uh,
Okay.
my favorite
I didn't give.
moment that I
Yeah,
shared
you go
with
ahead.
Devin in episode 1 was when we were the coaches for one tournament and we got second place that tournament. That was one of my
Yeah.
favorite moments with him.
Yeah. I remember that
But
tournament.
there was another moment during that tournament, and that was you were on first base. I was coaching third, and
Yes, sir.
there was a base hit to left field or center.
It was center field.
Center field.
Yeah.
Hayden is a very athletic person,
I'm very fast.
but you're not fast. You're actually pretty slow for your frame. I don't
Okay.
I don't want to go
All
into
right.
details of why you're slow. You're just slow.
I got faster.
Okay, but you're still slow.
Okay.
And it was a close game.
Yeah.
It was a close game, and
Yeah.
little Hayden, fresh out of his knee brace. I'm pretty sure it had to have been a couple months.
Yeah. It was only like 6 or 7 months or something like that. And after ACL tear, that's pretty quick. So
Yeah. So we'll just blame that on him
okay.
for not having a brace on. But he
Okay. Sure.
turns second, and I'm waving him, and I'm like, you know what? It's probably a good idea if you just stay on second base, even if you could have made it to third, because I actually believe you were pitching. And I was like, we can pinch
No,
run
I
you. Oh,
wasn't.
you weren't? Okay, so we couldn't
I
pinch run you.
wasn't.
Okay.
Mm-mm. Yeah.
So I think I was just more like, you know what? Little old Truckee over there is just not gonna make it to third. You know,
Mm-mm.
I don't want to risk it. I don't want you to get thrown out at third. I don't want that to be on me. So I said, you know what? Hold up, hey, you're good, dude. Stay over there at second. But somebody didn't look up at their coach until they were halfway around second base on their way to third. And then you go,
Mm-mm.
oh, those
Okay.
are two hands right there.
You're gonna blame this on
I
me,
should
huh?
probably hit the brakes and turn around. You turned around, your knee just didn't.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
So I
I
want
I remember that, dude. I planted and I felt a pop, and I looked down, and my knee was like not where it was supposed to be. Like it
yeah.
was not underneath my body,
So
and
my
immediately
question
just
is,
collapsed.
do you still blame that on me? That I was the
Yeah.
reason that you tore your ACL for the second time?
Oh yeah, you're definitely still to blame for that. dude, I was not that fast at that time. I had to put my head down to get there on
Yeah,
time.
yeah. No,
I saw that base hit going up the middle.
I did feel really bad after it, and the main reason I did feel really bad is because we knew that you were coming around, and I do believe you had a knee brace like in your bag, and
I think yeah,
you only put it on when you like felt sore, and so
yeah.
it was definitely not one of my brightest moments, but a moment nonetheless.
And I
Yeah,
don't want anybody out there to think like that it's like hard feelings or anything like
yeah,
that, because my knee injuries really made me who I am today.
yeah,
Like they really helped me get through some hard times, and like it really shows how tough and like how thick skinned I was. And like I think that that's really gonna give me a mentality that's gonna help me through the rest of life. So
yeah,
having those experiences are just things that I'm able to add to my life story, which is just something that really kind of defines who I am and really makes me who I am today. So I'll never regret any decision that I've made or anything like that. So
yeah. Well,
whether it be
that's good to hear.
stopping a little late or anything like that. So
Yeah, that's good to hear that there's no bad blood to this day.
yeah, I
I'm
probably should have been wearing a brace too.
I'm sure
There was
there
no
was
bad
bad
blood.
blood. No, just kidding.
There was no
Um,
there was no bad blood even when it happened, bro. We still have a picture of us sitting in the dugout with
yep.
ice on my knee and all of us.
Steve O's right next to us. Devin's right next to us. I
Yeah,
forget who else. It might have been Tyler.
yeah.
And anyways, on the more happier side, the other moment that I have is I can't pick a night, but my first season in Tennessee. So I'm
hmm
3 hours ahead of you. Maybe two. I'm pretty sure it was three. And we played Rocket League probably 5 to 6 days a week
Yeah,
whenever I had home games and whatnot.
yeah.
And so just that whole time in general, just literally we were so bad. We were so
Oh yeah,
bad.
yeah, we were
Yeah.
terrible.
This is back in the you were probably a bronze, silver, and I was like a gold one.
Yeah,
Maybe a silver three. We were
yeah,
yeah, and
and
it was just a lot of fun. Yeah, I can't pick out a memory. I
yeah,
just remember a lot of stupid talks, and I put down
yeah,
the quotation I put down was too much time.
yeah.
Yeah,
Too much time.
too much time.
And I mean, yeah, those are great memories. That's definitely one of my top two. Just being able to, I mean, we'd hop online for 3 hours a day,
Yeah.
and just constantly talking crap to kids that we were playing against, and we always had too much time.
Mhm.
We'd be down by 3 goals with 10 seconds left, and it
Yep.
was just too much time.
And
And
the only reason it was too much time is because we were playing the worst players in the country.
yeah, exactly. It was those kids that just downloaded the game the day before,
Yeah.
so that's why we had too much time. Yeah, that's definitely a good memory. Um, one of my favorite memories that I always like to look back on is Beast baseball. We were playing at Mather Field, and it was a late night. Our game was going long, and at Mather they have the automatic lights like to shut off at like 11 or midnight or something like that.
I know where you're going with this. Okay. Good.
And middle of the game, it just goes absolutely pitch black, and all I remember is one of the funniest moments because it's pitch black in there, but there's still like some little silhouettes and everything. And we have big ass Andrew Fuentes,
The biggest kid
six
on our
foot,
team. Yeah.
yeah, 6'6", like towers over everybody. Big ass silhouette running around, messing with people, thinking that nobody's gonna recognize that it's him when he's 6'6" shadows running away from you. And I just think that was one of like our best moments, and like I don't know, I just like I loved all those times with Beast baseball and
Yeah.
traveling with you guys and spending time with all those guys. Like it was always fun, man.
All right. So with that, kind of mention it. One of my questions was going to be, do you have any regrets? And you've repeated it several times already
Yeah,
that you don't have any regrets in terms of
no,
baseball. And the last question I have before the next segment is, what, if any, like the biggest takeaway of a life lesson? I know there's a lot of life lessons that baseball can teach you, but just
yeah.
in general, if you can kind of sum it up, or the biggest one that stands out to you, what is the biggest life lesson that baseball has taught you?
Um, I mean, it's kind of just what's gonna lead me into like a career, like um, is just being able to work as a team. Like I love the team and being confident in being around people that are going to be working together. Like, and I think that's kind of one of the biggest takeaways that I can ever have is, and like one of the most grateful things that I can ever have too, is being able to have trust in people that are around you, that are all working towards the same goal. Like no matter what in life, like I'm working towards civil engineering. So when I have those guys next to me that we're all working together to get this building done, like you have to have that trust and that
Mm-hmm.
teamwork mentality in order to get through stuff. And I'll always like be appreciative of what baseball's done for me in that, and knowing that like I'm comfortable in those situations and being around people, and being able to all get towards a common goal. Like it's something that'll definitely get a help throughout life. So
Okay. Okay.
yeah,
Yeah, I like that. Definitely have to have. Mine was patience, and you definitely have to have patience in order to have a team around you. Be able
yeah,
to learn
yeah,
how to have some teamwork. All right, so we're
yeah.
gonna go
And
into.
also with that team, like you got to be able to work with people. Like people's strengths and their weaknesses. So being able to like kind of combine all that together and being able to like make up for spots like that, just having that knowledge and being able to figure out what those areas are, it's definitely just going to make everything a lot easier. So
Okay. All right, so we're gonna go to the next segment, and this
okay.
is what we're calling getting back picked.
Ooh, good pickup, snap, throw back first. Got him. Souza too far.
And so I'm
Okay.
gonna just ask you a handful of questions, just very general questions, and then I got a couple personalized questions in there for you. All right.
Okay. I'm excited because I didn't get any knowledge about this.
Oh, okay. Well, you don't know what the questions are gonna be. I told you it was coming. You just don't know what the questions are gonna be.
That's what I meant. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So I have on your little overlay some of your stats from high school. Okay,
Yeah.
you were 2-year varsity, kind of 3-year if you count the playoffs your sophomore year.
No,
Okay.
not really. I didn't play.
Okay, 92.2 innings, 3.85 ERA. You had a 11-9 win-loss. Does that sound correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
2 CGs both in your senior year.
Mm-hmm.
And you had 85 walks and 96 Ks.
Mm-hmm.
You had mentioned that you were a pretty good hitter and that you were trying to go two-way in JUCO.
Yeah.
Like I mentioned before, you weren't very fast. Okay, you had a 3 out of 6 stolen base attempts. So you're caught stealing 50% of the time.
Yep.
You weren't.
I didn't know that you had like the stats.
Oh yeah, no, yeah. You weren't necessarily the best fielder. You know that. You had a 946 fielding percentage. You had 13 errors.
Yeah.
But you did make it up with your bat. You batted 327.
Okay.
You had 26 hits, 12 RBIs, 4 doubles, and 5 triples.
Yeah.
So I guess you were
triples on the team.
I don't know if you were fast or just a couple outfielders tripped.
Okay.
Out of those, and there's some I couldn't find your JUCO stats anywhere. So you can include your JUCO, you can include your Little League, but what would you say is your biggest achievement for baseball statistics?
Statistics wise?
Yes.
I mean, what pitcher can't look at their strikeout number and say like that they're proud of that? So
Okay.
It's definitely my strikeouts because even like I mean we've talked about it. Like my mentality was always like to get the pop-ups and groundouts. So like even when we were just talking before we started this whole thing was the 96 Ks was just like that's insane for me to hear.
Yeah.
Like I did not think anything like that. And I just had my college experience. So like I know my college experience and I probably had half of that throughout my 2 years in college.
Mm-hmm.
So hearing that I had that 96 throughout high school, like that's pretty crazy to me.
Mm-hmm.
So I
And
think
again,
that's probably one of my
at throwing, that's a lot. I mean, in the grand scheme of you're throwing, like you said, 75, 78, got into college hitting 80, and so it's like you're not supposed to strike out guys, so they just it's that much more
well that
special.
just shows like that just shows like everybody watching, like you don't have to be a flamethrower to get strikeouts or anything like that. If that's what you're out there looking for, like you don't have to be that flamethrower. Like if you got the control and command, like you can do it. So
I'd mentioned that you weren't the greatest infielder. So my next question is, at 4 years at RV, how does it feel knowing that Dace Asher was a better first baseman than you?
God, I feel like we've had this conversation because you told me that I couldn't catch your pickoffs at first base.
Yeah, that's why he started at first base.
Okay.
Because you could not handle my picks.
Okay. It doesn't bother me now. Like, I mean, I kind of grew into that pitcher only role.
Yeah.
So like it obviously doesn't bother me now. Back then it was kind of like, I don't know. I mean, it was like a slap in the face, but at the same time, like, I mean, you're competing for a position at all times. So, I mean, I was still going to compete for that first base role. I mean, I always had my first baseman glove on me and everything like that. But I mean, Dace is 6'3", 6'4", so I'm 5'8". Like, obviously, like it just made sense that he was going to get that spot over me. So like, yeah, I mean, it sucked at the beginning, but then he graduated, and that was my spot.
Yeah. And just so people know, like I have no hard feelings against Dace either. Obviously, like for me as a pitcher, he was a very good defensive first baseman. But the reason why this is a sore topic is because he was the coach's son. So there's always kind of like, not even just for you, but just people in general. If you pitch or whatever, you're always hearing people saying "daddy ball" and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
it's just kind of a funny topic.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh God.
this isn't going to be a stab in the heart, so I'll
All
just
right.
give you some.
I don't.
I don't
I
want to
don't get
go back to
offended
back on
easily.
it. No, we'll
I
just.
don't get offended easily.
Okay.
So.
All right. Well, who would you consider is your best friend?
If my girlfriend doesn't watch this, then it's probably my boy Cameron Eden.
Okay, that's who I was assuming you were gonna say.
Yeah.
So, how do you feel letting your best friend Cameron Eden hit a 3-run home run off of you in the championship game?
Yeah, that was rough. That was the farthest home run that I've ever had hit off of me too.
And probably the biggest pimp job, because I was at
Yeah,
that game and I saw
yeah,
it.
that was a hard one for sure. But it makes it a lot better because Cameron's so humble.
Mm-hmm.
Like he never rubbed it in my face or anything like that. So like that, the only thing that would make it bad is that it was eating me alive, like myself. Like if I went back and watched that game from just the recordings and stuff
Mm-hmm.
like that, seeing that happen, it's gonna eat me alive more than anything else. Like
Yeah.
Cameron's never even brought it up to me, and we hang out all the time.
Yeah.
So like, I mean, we've talked about it jokingly maybe before, but like it's never like anything bad. So I mean, it sucks in the moment for sure. Like that was hard. And especially like watching him walk around the bases, like you can't help but like have like a smile on your face, even though it's like the championship game.
Yeah.
So like it sucks, but I mean it happens. Like the bad pitches happen. I mean, now you look back at it, like he went to D1 college and was a starting shortstop for 3 years, and then gets drafted in the 7th round out of after 3 years at Cal
Yeah.
Berkeley.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, it was like okay, yeah.
Okay, maybe it wasn't such a bad thing.
Yeah, it
Maybe he
wasn't such a
is
bad
that
thing.
good.
Yeah. And now it's like I look back on it and like if I pitched against him now, like he would easily take me deep, because like then I'd go watch him play at Cal Berkeley and he's taking kids that are going in the 1st round deep too. So it's
Yeah.
like okay.
Who would you say is your favorite coach out of all your years? And for example, in the last episode, someone said that their favorite coach was actually their football coach.
Oh, okay. I didn't play any other sport other than baseball, so I got to go through my baseball coaches. It's gonna go towards to my pitching coach. I think it'd probably be Gillen, our pitching coach from River Valley.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's my number one coach that I've ever had. Just super knowledgeable, and always felt like he was there for me. Like he was one of those coaches that you're not scared to reach out to. Like even when I went into college, like I still was able to reach out to him and ask him if I could come throw on the mound and stuff like that, and he was willing to come out and help me and like look at my and like kind of tweak things. So having a role model like that around in the baseball realm I think it was something special, and like a lot of kids might not get, because I mean, he's just such a genuine guy, and like we had him around too because he was a security guard at RV, so like
Yeah.
he was always around. So we were able to like just grow that bond throughout those few years that I was at RV. So yeah, it's just really nice. Like I still have him in my phone. I still have his phone number and everything to this day, and it's been 5 years now since I haven't even seen him. So but I just know that like he's always going to be one of those guys that I can easily reach out to. So
Yeah, we kind of touched on it. I touched on it with Devin that it'd be too cliche to say our dads as our favorite coaches just because they were our coach for 5 years, and my dad was not really like the baseball coach. He was more of like the life coach. So for me, it would definitely be Gillen as well.
Yeah.
I mean, that guy has taken care of me on a whole nother level outside of baseball as well. And like you said,
Yeah.
him and Asher, who was our other coach, they were security guards, and they kept us out of trouble, made sure that we weren't doing anything stupid all the time. Just really did take care of us and cared more about us as people than as ball players. And I do feel like, yeah, like you said, some people don't get genuine people as their coaches, and you get people that all they care about is winning and stuff like that. So
yeah,
I'm glad that you gave my boy Jeremy some recognition.
yeah, you got to throw him out there.
Who was your favorite teammate?
Ooh, favorite teammate. Honestly, not to sound cliche, like I'm sitting here in front of you right now, but I would say that you probably were one of my favorite teammates.
Really?
Yeah.
Nice.
It really comes down to the passion. Like playing with somebody like you that has like that fire, and you always were like, I mean, if you struck out, you were pissed, and like you just had like such a passion for the game that was, like you could just see it on your face at all times. Like when you stepped on that mound, there was always that passion that you could see, and there was that fire in the dugout, getting people pumped up and everything like that. And it was honestly just like, it was something that you don't see a lot of, and until you get to that super high level. And so like that was a nice, like it was always a good introduction going through high school and stuff like that, to have kids on the team that are able to pump you up and always have that passion for that game, rather than people that are kind of just messing around during games and just hoping that they win or something like that. Like having those kids that are like genuinely, let's get this done, stop messing around, like let's focus in right now. So like that was always something that was really nice to have on the team.
Yeah, that's a big thing for me. Is I've said it time and time again that I can care less about who you are off of the field, because there's, especially in pro ball, like there's just some people that it's like way different lifestyle, come from a different world, and but once you step on that field, like if you're not, like I don't care if you make 7 errors in a row, but if you show me that you're trying, like that's all that matters to me. So I really do appreciate you saying that, man. That means a lot.
Yeah.
The last question that I have, and we'll end it after this, is how long have you been in Rocket League? Playing Rocket League? 4 years? 5 years?
3 or 4. I took like, let me be fair before I hear this question. I took like a year break before I got back into it again. Okay.
I'm just gonna say 4 years. That was your choice to take that break.
Okay.
How does it feel after 4 years of playing the same game? You are never going to make it to Diamond.
Oh, that's rough to hear. Dude, did I not just send you my clip that I hit the other day? I'm Diamond. I'm basically Diamond right now. It's frustrating though, because I know that I probably won't get there anytime soon. So I say it at the beginning of every season on Rocket League that this is the year, or this is the season I get to Diamond, and then I'm in plat or gold for almost the whole season. So plat 1, high gold for the whole season.
You can just be like everyone else that is in plat.
Yeah.
Just blame it on having bad teammates, dude.
Hey, that's usually what it is.
Yeah.
Okay.
Doesn't matter how many goals you miss, how many saves you miss. It's got to be your teammates, man.
Yeah, it's always the teammates, and that's why you always have to talk crap to them, because to let them know that they suck.
All right,
Just
man.
for saying that, I'm playing right after this.
You're good. You're back on the grind. I put a fire under your belly, huh?
Oh yeah. I'll be Diamond by the next time we talk.
All right, man. We're gonna end it there, man. I do appreciate you taking the time, and it's always fun talking to you. And I'm glad to hear some of the things that I didn't know, and the experiences that you've been through.
Yeah, man. It was good to talk to you on like a platform where we can have like questions going back and forth too. So that was nice, man. I really enjoyed it.
Definitely a different environment than me telling you to rotate.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. Too much time.
Yeah. All right, man. Have a good day. I'll talk to you later.
All right, thanks, man. You too. All right.